Hey there, welcome to the garden. I'm sitting back here out in, I don't know what I'm calling any of these gardens, and I keep changing up, like in my mind I keep going back and forth with what I want to do in them next year, so I'm not even going to try to name back garden. I'm in the back garden, and I've been out in the front garden trying to figure out what I want to do as far as like placing some plants. I went to Tractor Supply yesterday, not affiliated, not connected or anything, but I came across, they had $5 perennials. So I grabbed a bunch of actually barberry bushes. They had like a ton of really beautiful looking barberries, and I've got a few spots that I thought would look pretty with some barberry plants. So I put a couple up by the house actually. I put some over on like this sort of, I have this area near up by the front yard where I kind of like want to put some more plants in. So I put some over there, and then I was kind of like not sure what I wanted to do with them. So I was just kind of out placing them, but it is so hot and humid today. I brought out my water. I need to go grab it. I'm gonna have to really work to stay hydrated because this is like, the humidity is here, the heat is here. But my big goal for today is I want to move the climbing rose. I have a climbing rose, a Princess Margarita climbing rose, and I have a blue moon rose, which is more like a bush. I don't know exactly what they call it. Tea rose? I think it's a tea rose. It's like a bush rose. So I want to go ahead and pop those roses into the ground, kind of move them. They're outside of the deer fence right now, and the deer just come by every time they're about to bloom. They get the beautiful buds, and then the deer come by and they eat the flowers, and I don't get to have any flowers. So I'm gonna move them. I've got a trellis already set up for the climbing rose. I'm gonna go put it by that, like an obelisk really. And then I'm gonna place the other plants. I might move a couple. There's like the Russian sage and stuff back here. I might move a couple of the plants out of this planter just to start that process, get them into their like homes, permanent homes, hopefully. So I may go ahead and pull those out and plant them. I'm trying to decide. I have this Forever and Ever rose, which is in a container this year and has been doing really well in the container, but I'm tempted. I may go ahead and throw that out in the ground as well. We'll see how far I get. Honestly, like I shouldn't not have worn a gray shirt. This was a terrible idea. It is so humid. So we'll see how much I'm gonna do. I'm trying to like pace myself a little bit, but the garden's in a little bit of a free-for-all right now, and so I kind of want to like get a few things set. So I'm gonna go move some of those barberries. I actually was thinking that I might throw a few in some containers. You know, eventually I want to get them out in the landscape, but they're so pretty, and I feel like for fall, winter, actually, they'd be really pretty in some containers, like back in this area as like kind of container garden-y plants. So I may put them in some containers. That might be really nice. I need to get up more terracotta pots because I'm kind of phasing out a lot of the plastic pots that I have. Just like want to get some good terracotta, you know, pots in here. But I could put some of them just in some containers and kind of, you know, there'd just be like that pretty sort of evergreen interest back here. It's always hard for me to sort of figure out what I want to do. Yeah, so maybe I will do that. They're super pretty, and I think they'd just be pretty like as we get into fall, winter, to have some of that interest. I'm hopefully going to plant out the hibiscus too. I found a couple spots where I think I want to put a couple of those hibiscus plants. Oh, we'll just see. I'm also really hoping that this humidity breaks and we get a nice rainstorm today. I did end up putting the perennials that I'm starting in here and filling up this trough and letting them have soak from the bottom, which is working out really well. They're nice and hydrated. So let's come over here. Let's get this Russian sage. And then I'm eventually going to be planting in, I want to do greens, salad greens in here. So the other plants look really good, but the Russian sage, it's funny. I had a couple Russian sage plants, and I don't know if maybe these plants were just sort of not doing so well because they're kind of like not looking good. So we'll see. I'm going to get them into their spot, and hopefully they kind of pick back up. I had a third Russian sage plant that I planted out, and like it just died immediately, which was odd because, I mean, it has been dry, but I was watering it, and it's a Russian sage plant, so, you know, usually they're pretty tough. So I don't know, but luckily the Russian sage is very popular. I mean, it's not like I can't find more Russian sage if I want more Russian sage. So what I'm going to try to be delicate, but I'm just going to lift this because I just planted this like, you know, a week ago. So I'm going to lift this one up. We'll go over here. We'll lift this guy. And we'll go get these planted out. So I am working on a bed in the corner of this garden. So I think I'm gonna put the 2 Russian sage. I think I'm not gonna put the barberry. I'm gonna put that in a container. But I do have that Joe Pye weed, the spotted Joe Pye weed. That's gonna go there. And then I'm gonna swoop this way and do Russian sage. And then we'll put the rose in and we'll just start seeing what we can do. Oh my goodness. Well, I got some of that planted. That soil is so like compacted clay that I didn't try to dig the holes for the big gallon size proven winter containers because it just seemed like too much. I think so. I watered a little bit. I need to do more watering out here. And I was thinking about while I was watering how, you know, when you get to this point in the season, it starts to get hard. Like, this is the point in the season when a lot of people kind of give up on the garden. A lot of people just sort of, you know, say, oh my God, like I'm done. Like I'm too many tomatoes and the pests are crazy. And I think August is a rough time. And I definitely even find myself, I'm like, do I have to water this whole garden? Like, I do need to eventually set up a drip system for the garden. I'm aware of that. I will eventually. But yeah, it's definitely like, whew, this is the point in the garden where it just seems hard. And I think, in my mind, the sort of strategy to deal with that exhaustion at the end of the season is not to give up completely, because, you know, you put so much work into the garden. Like, we've been working at this all year. Not to give up completely, as tempting as it is, because there's a big piece of me right now that is like, let's be done. But to just do the essential things, you know, do the essential things, do what you can, pace yourself, not worry about it. I watered the plants in the pots. They'll sit there, and then I'll plant them out, you know, in a couple of days, or maybe this evening if it cools down, but probably in a couple of days. Like, it's okay. And I think at this time of year in the garden, you just have to kind of do that. You have to like just let it be, you know, pick your battles on like, if you're only going to water one plant, maybe water the perennial rather than the annual, you know, and not worry too much. If you have a perennial plant that, you know, if something happened, you forget to water them, whatever, the pests get to them, don't worry too much. You know, I think that sometimes I put a lot of pressure on myself with my perennials where I'm like, oh my God, the perennial died. And then I kind of try to remind myself, like, you know, I probably spent the same amount of money that I bought that perennial I probably spent on an annual in most cases. There's a few like more precious plants, but a lot of cases like I would have bought annuals and they would have been done for the season anyways, like, you know, whatever. So that's what I'm trying to tell myself anyways, just like, let's just focus on what's necessary. So I'm going to breathe for a minute here. Try to catch my breath. I've been drinking like electrolytes, but I need to go inside and sit in air conditioning and drink a lot of water in a minute. But I'm going to do a few things. So I got the barberries out here. I'm going to go ahead and stick some of them into some pots. Figure out a situation with some pots. And then I actually think I'm going to maybe move around a couple little plants and pot up some stuff and kind of just see where I'm at. I have a couple Kinsley Ghost honeysuckles in some containers. They were really cute all year. Those are a perennial. But they're like, it is getting absolutely eaten up by some kind of bug got to it. But I think it's still alive. So what I'm going to do is I have a couple of these little pots. I've got some potting soil up by the house. I'm just going to take these up. I'm going to bring these inside. And I do want these to survive. So I'm just going to bring them inside. I'm going to go grab the other one. This poor little guy, like there's something munching on it. This one's doing, oh no. Oh, well, this is going to be, let's take a couple of these as cut flowers. You know, might as well seize the moment. Since I broke them off, this plant's kind of fallen off anyways. There we go. We'll take a few in. I'll do some little cut flowers. Anyways, I should probably dig in here. Let me see if this will come out with a reasonable amount of roots. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna stick this in a pot. When I go up to the house, I'm just gonna fill this in with potting soil. I'm gonna pot it in, clean it up, spray it off with bug killer, you know, like some dead bug, Captain Jack's dead bug spray, and stick these inside. And I'm just gonna grow them on for a little bit inside. You know, they are a perennial that wants to be outside. So once the weather cools back down, I will probably bring them back outside to make sure that they, get like their cold period and that they get, frost and, you know, they go through the season. They are in small containers. So what I will either do is put them in, either plant them into the ground so that they're not just in that tiny little container through all the winter cold and frost, or I will go ahead and probably, like just put them in a very protected area or stick them under like some kind of a greenhouse, kind of just like a little bit of shelter so that they, are a little bit protected. But there are things like that where it's like, I am not at the space gardening season wise to be like doing the whole big, you know, spraying down all the plants and everything, but I can take those inside and I can spray them down once. I can take them inside. I can baby them inside when I'm looking at them, you know, on my windowsill. I can keep an eye on them, get them back in gear, and kind of like rescue them. Like this guy has got, most of its leaves were eaten, but you can see it's trying to push some new buds. So I want to save that, and I want to save these plants. And I did spend money on a perennial plant, and I want to like save it. So I think you got to be a little, like, at least for me, like I always have to get creative in the August garden so that I actually take care of things. So, okay. So I got the barberries here. I don't have a bag of potting soil right now, so I think I'm just gonna like kind of stick a couple of them just like in these pots and just kind of see what I think about this look. Right? Perennial right there. This is cool. these are some little Parisian carrots that I think, I'm gonna feed these to the bunnies. Look how cute that is. In a container. So, if you're a small space gardener like me, you can still have carrots. I planted these this spring. This makes me want to grow more carrots. Let's see. Oh, this guy's little. Well, that is fun. We'll probably eat some, and I'll probably give some of those to the bunnies. So I have a couple pots here that have some leftover potting soil. And I did, when I dug up the roses, there were a few plants that I had in that bed that I dug up as well. And I just brought them over here. And I figured, so these are some ornamental peppers. And these beautiful ornamental peppers and a pincushion flower. So I think I'm just gonna stick them in here. This is where it's like you just make it work. So I have this pot, it's got some leftover potty mix. I have this plant that had to come out. And I'm just gonna nestle it in here. I probably should fertilize it. I probably should get it some fertilizer. See if I can get it to just get it down in that soil. And then I'm gonna stick it in my trough with the water and let it really rehydrate. I actually had 2 of these that were really pretty. I was hoping that since they were hot peppers that they would, the deer wouldn't eat them. But my deer don't care. I swear, I have the craziest deer. So I'm just gonna try to get that really in here because it'd be pretty for fall to have some containers. You usually see these kind of peppers like in the garden center in the fall. Again, I'm just gonna stick it in the water and then that way it'll get some bottom water. And my favorite pincushion flower, Black Knight. Actually, I have a little Dusty Miller here too. A Black Knight pincushion flower, which hopefully I can save because that's really beautiful too. I'm just gonna stick it in this pot. I've got some leftover, again, these leftover potting mix. And we'll just repurpose it. So, you know, that's the other thing is like, I feel like this time of year, sometimes, you know, you're ready to just move some things along. So it's okay to, I think, just get creative. And if you need to move a plant into a different container, hopefully still enjoy this because this is so beautiful. The Black Knight pincushion flower is stunning. I need to get more seeds for these. And there, we'll let those kind of get water in there. That's a useful spot. It's not the most perfect looking thing to have this set up like this, but it's actually really handy to have like just a trough. Now you do have to watch out if it rains that your plants don't get flooded. You know, if the rain gets above the plant cells, then you can deal with some flooding situations, but I'm hopeful that, well, I'll be shocked if we get enough rain to cause issues at this point because we've really not had much rain at all. How pretty is the sunlight back here? One day this garden is gonna look in real life the way that it looks in my head. We're not there yet, but we'll get there eventually. Eventually I'll get it right. I just can't hang. It's just too hot. I just can't do it. So I'm not gonna try. All right, well, at least we got some things done. The next big project is gonna be planting the rest of those plants And then hopefully I can get some weeding done. But I don't think it even makes sense in the heat of the day like this to be out here weeding, because it's so hot. I just don't think I'd be comfortable, and I think I'd just be, dehydrating. At a certain point, it's like not good for you. So I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it there for today, even though I sort of feel like I should be doing stuff, but there's plenty of time. And that's also the thing too. It's like there's always time. All right. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.